If you live in the New York City tri-state area, you've probably heard this voice on a radio commercial.
Come see us today. Make no payments for a year, and I'll remain celibate until we're number one.
Here's the story of the unusual man behind these crazy messages. This man lives in two very different worlds. He resides in New Jersey and owns and operates both a 330-acre cattle ranch and a thriving automobile dealership. He's a true urban cowboy, and he spends his days in a chaotic world shaped by man and a tranquil one ruled by Mother Nature. If there's a common denominator in his two worlds, it's the number 60. And like a brand on one of his cattle, it helps define who he is and who he was.
As far as athletic ability is concerned, I think on a 1 to 10, I was probably about a 3 or a 4. But the wonderful thing about playing offensive line is you can make yourself into a lineman if you stick with it enough. I just really wanted to do it that bad. Don't tell the Giants this, but I would have played for free.
He didn't have as much talent as a lot of other players, but Brad played as close to his potential as any player I've ever coached. I've actually bought a couple cars from Brad.
In the NFL, good offensive lines have a herd mentality. Benson deals with herds on a daily basis now, especially when he's competing in cutting horse competitions.
I saw cutting on TV on ESPN probably around 12 or 13 years ago. It just looked so unique and so cool that I just decided that I had to do it. Cutting involves isolating one cattle from the herd and preventing it from returning. You try to read just like you would try to read a defensive end, whether you see his eyes, his body, or whatever, and try to anticipate which way that cow's going. I make comparisons in my mind when I go to big events. I try to tell myself, come on now, this can't be nearly as tough as dealing with Dexter Manley at RFK Stadium. Dexter Manley, the opponent who raised both the level of Benson's play and his blood pressure.
We'd be coming home from San Francisco. We just beat the 49ers in a huge game. He sat next to me on the planes. And what do you think Brad was talking about? Oh, next week we got the Redskins. Oh, Dexter Manley, Dexter, this, I don't know what I'll do. Brad, shut up. Enjoy the game that we won for 5 minutes. They say nervous Nelly. That was Brad. That's what made him what he was. He was a really good teammate and an awesome lineman for a lot of years. But he truly was blue collar.
He was blue collar and red nose.
He's always bleeding across his nose. I mean, he had more nose surgery on that one little spot.
One of the few good drive blocks of my career, I was able to get into a guy and really rake into him, but my helmet came down across the bridge of my nose, and it just really broke the bones here, split it wide open. It just stayed open for the whole year. It was bad. After 20 or 30 times, it just eventually got to the point where I just don't sew it anymore.
If your nose bleeds a little bit, it's even better.
Band-Aid Benson was an easy pick for the All-Madden team, but making Bill Parcells' team was a little more difficult.
I think Bill Parcells saved me in the NFL. He saved me. Here I was, a marginal player. When he got the job, he said, listen, I'm going to give you a shot. Don't let me down.
Coach Parcells got on you a little bit this week. How did you handle that?
I'm used to it. He's on me continuously. Every day we would fight. Every day. I expect him to be on me. I really do. He pushes me to the limit of my ability.
Proud of him. I'm as proud of him. He was a nuts and bolts player, and he's a nuts and bolts business guy.
Yep, it works. Fits too.
And you don't ever have to worry about Brad Benson and guys like him. They're getting it done somehow. Hey there, how are we doing today, huh?
Parcells and Benson share a mutual respect and a love of horses. And as we learned, they're close enough to call each other a horse's, well, you know.
I say, there's Bill coming now. there's the best picture of Bill I've seen in a long time.
Benson is familiar with Parcells' backside. Following their win in Super Bowl 21, it was Benson who put Parcells on his shoulder.
Very important for me to carry Bill off the field, because I'm not kidding you. He saved my butt. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have played my whole career in the NFL. Now, it could have possibly led to one of the hip replacements that I had, but no, in all seriousness, I'm really happy that I had an opportunity to carry him across that field.
1 year later, Parcells returned the favor at the Meadowlands when he saluted Benson in his final game.
Doesn't get any better than that. And that's why I say the Meadowlands, they might have a different stadium, but the Meadowlands will always be home.
The Meadowlands doesn't exist anymore, but the goalposts from it still do. Benson owns one of the most successful car dealerships in the country. But 7 years ago, he nearly lost it.
At the time, we were probably selling 60 Hyundais a month. Hyundai had come to me and said, listen, we don't think you're doing a really great job. We have somebody that would like to buy your dealership. And it was at that point in time where I decided that I had to do something.
Hi, it's Brad Benson from Brad Benson Hyundai in South Brunswick, New Jersey.
That something was to begin a series of radical radio commercials.
Hey, which one of these ridiculous scenarios is most likely to happen to you in the next 12 months? Al Gore drives you to work every day in his new Hummer. Hillary Clinton gives you a pantsuit lap dance. Sarah Palin swings by your house to give your kids a sex education pep talk. Or Brad Benson makes your car payments for the next year.
We don't care if they're purple, green, black, or white, Democrat, Republican. If you do something crazy, you're going to make one of our radio spots.
We're giving every customer a holiday shopping check for $1,000. So who could benefit from the whole no payments for a year thing? Well, if you're going to be indisposed for a year or so, like, I don't know, Plaxico Burris, no payments for a year would be a real plus. Sorry, Plaxico, you sure shot yourself in the foot when you shot yourself in the leg.
I think the world needs a little bit of political incorrectness right now. I think that we're just so afraid of everything. Doesn't mean you're not kind to people just because you do something a little bit off the wall. It just means that you're willing to step out there and take some chances that other people maybe just don't want to do.
Some people do get offended by them, but I think it's creative, and he picks on everybody, in a loving manner. He picks on himself, He's picked on me, when he was celibate. That doesn't say too much for me.
Last month, we were the number 2 Hyundai dealer in the country. But hey, I want to be number 1, so I'm giving up sex until we reach that goal. Now, you're probably thinking, Brad, what about your poor wife?
It's probably the greatest thing his wife ever heard.
That's the one, because we laughed because he wasn't getting any when he was playing. So that's not a stretch for him.
The goalposts in his parking lot and the stadium seats in his stable are reminders of a world he left long ago. But for Brad Benson, the man who lives in 2 new worlds, the ultimate reminder of the life he once lived in the NFL is never far away.
I used to save this ring because I was afraid of doing something to it. And I said, this is just utterly ridiculous. To work this hard for something and to be so proud of something and not to wear it, I wear it all the time now. The only time I don't wear it is if we're baling hay here on the farm, because I worry about it getting caught in a piece of equipment and losing the ring and my finger. It'd probably hurt me worse to lose this ring than my finger. It's really funny because you would think that when you put a ring on every day, that it would just get routine or get old. Super Bowl rings don't become routine. They change your life forever.